I'm Natalie Standridge, founder and franchisor of Casa de Corazon Intercultural Early Learning. Welcome to my podcast, Decades of Disruption. Here, I'll share my journey, the decades of stories and convictions that have driven my choice to not only contribute to, but also to disrupt the early childhood education industry. But these stories aren't only my own. I'll be joined by the people whose lives have been changed by what I've created and whose mere existence have been a constant source of inspiration to me too. If you're ready to challenge the status quo and build something truly unique and impactful, you're in the right place. Disruption has a purpose, and we're here to talk about it. Hi, welcome to another episode of Decades of Disruption, the podcast that challenges the status quo. Today we're talking to María Medina, a Latina woman who has broken molds and, after years in public roles, is now focusing on new projects and redefining her life. In this episode, we'll dive into how she's navigated her path as an influential woman, the challenges she faces in her day-to-day, and how she's learned to prioritize what truly matters. Bienvenida, María.
Gracias. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Of course. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump right in and ask you some questions about this transition that you're going through. I know that you've been in highly visible political roles for quite some years. And how has your approach to life changed and shifted in the last, I don't know, maybe year or two?
Yep. In the past couple years. I had intentionally made the decision that I wanted to slow down. So I wasn't voted out of office. I just decided to not run again for re-election. So that was a very intentional decision on my part to say I have been very happy with how my life has been. And I think I'm ready to kind of downshift a little bit in my leadership. I never was intending to stay in office for a very long time. And then after COVID and kind of the past few years, I feel like that timeline just kind of compressed for me. And so it was a very intentional decision. And I've been out of office for just over 2 years. So the first year was honestly just resting, eating, sleeping. Just honestly, it was rest, getting back to myself. And then this past year, it's really been focused on, I have some space. What does that look like? And it took me a lot of work to keep that space and not fill it with something else.
Yes.
So,
that's a challenge.
Yeah. And so I was like, what do I want to do now? And what does that look like? And how do I want to spend my time? So it's been really nice to just have the mental, physical space to power down a little bit and think about what is next.
Amazing. So to give us a little bit of context, what was that office that you held or position?
Yeah, I was in elected office serving the community of Richfield for the past 6 years. So now it's been 8 years total, 8 years when I started to run for office. And then I transitioned to the mayor of Richfield. And it was during some of the most unprecedented and tumultuous times in our country and in our state of Minnesota. It was during the killing of George Floyd. It was also during the COVID-19 pandemic. And we also had pretty big leadership shifts within the city with some retirements. So there was just a lot going on during that time.
Yeah, that was a lot to take on for you as a leader.
Totally.
Thank you for doing that during those unprecedented times.
Thank you.
So as a woman, I want to know a little bit more about how you balance your projects, your interests, your priorities with your personal life. And is there something that you've had to let go of besides your political office? Yeah,
well, I will say in the past 2 years being out of office, I found myself still being extremely busy. And I was like, okay, so I don't have that to fall back on as my excuse because I'm out of office, but I'm still really, really busy.
Yeah.
And I need to figure out, maybe it's me. Who knew? It's not just the office itself, but it's me. And so I really had to kind of reflect and look at that because I was saying this office, this external thing was really the thing that was taking up my time. But then I realized, well, with that gone, I'm still in the space. It's a little bit better, but it was still something I needed to think about. And so it was just really taking a hard look at how do I stop and contain my work? I'm so committed and dedicated to my profession, which is all because it's about supporting and helping community and lifting up our voices and systems change. And so I think I get wrapped up in it a lot and can just continue to focus on that. And so I had to really put some hard stops on things and say, I'm going to, start at this time and end at this time. I'm going to go to the gym. And so those were the types of things that I had to do.
Amazing. Yeah, that's such good introspection. I think as high achieving individuals, it's so easy to just stay busy and fill our time with things that we see as meaningful. Yeah. Right? But you've also sort of redefined your personal priorities over the years. And what are, would you say, the top things that are now essential to you? You mentioned going to the gym. Anything else?
Yeah. One of the things that I've had to do is I was really intentional in kind of creating quite a bit of separation between my community work, because I felt like if I didn't create that separation after being out of office, that I would continue to really just be sucked into the work. And I will always do work in community service. That is not going to be an issue. But I needed some time to separate and to think about how do I, what does it look like in the future? And so I really decided that how can I contribute to community in a way that's not at the cost of my health, and model that for others.
Oh, so beautiful.
Yeah. And so mentoring young women and girls is really like one of the top priorities. And I've always done that. But when I've been asked to be front and center for things, I've really said, I've had a lot of opportunities to do that. And actually, I have a great young leader who would be a perfect fit for that. Okay. And she wants to learn and grow in this space. Would you, have her in this place, or could she come along? And so part of my focus now is really not being at that leading edge myself, but supporting others to step in their leadership and be a mentor to them while they do that.
Oh, I absolutely love that. And I resonate with that a lot, and with the concept that you're not a true leader until you foster somebody else's leadership. And that's what you're doing now. And it's so important, especially for young women, to have a role model like you. So let's talk a little bit about the value of friendship. Friendship often takes on new meaning when you go through big life changes, right? And the different stages of life. How has your concept of friendship changed, and what do you value most in your friendships today?
I think my friendships shifted in the sense of I continue to maintain all of my friendships, but also I was just out in the public so much that my networks, including my social and personal networks, just were really big and broad and, deep. And so I decided to say, in this stage, who are the people that I really just want to focus and really spend that quality time with, versus, growing and growing those networks. Right. I still have all of them, but really shifting where I spend that time. So I've been spending more time with my nieces, with my aunts, with a few close friends, with a few mentors of mine who are aging. And so I really decided I want to spend that quality time with people in my life that are really in that close inner circle, and then also think about folks that are aging in my life that I want to make sure I get the time that I want to spend with them.
Love that. Yeah. So good. And so that sort of segues into my next question, which is super important for women who are leaders, which is learning how to say no.
Yes. Totally.
So how do you balance saying no with those, often we get these feelings of guilt when we're turning things down, because I'm sure a lot of people want your time and your influence and your opinion about things. And so saying no can feel difficult, and it can also at the same time be very liberating. Yeah. How do you decide when to say no, and how has it helped you prioritize your own well-being?
Yeah, it's something that I continue to struggle with. And so I think I will say I've gotten a lot better at it, and it's just continuous practice and thinking about what are the things that I want to say yes to, and really trying to scope those things, a focus on a few things with really high quality versus spreading yourself. And then it goes back to the mentorship as well, having that network of young women and professionals that I'm mentoring. It's great to say, this is my focus for this year is this, or I'm really capped out at boards that I'm sitting on, or I've decided, I'm just going to focus here. Thank you so much for the consideration. And I actually have another great leader that would really welcome this opportunity. Would you be open to connecting with her? Oh, okay. And so it's just a way to, again, foster the leadership of somebody else.
Yes, it really ties into that, because when you do have to say no, then you have somebody else to recommend, which, totally takes away that guilt because you're fostering it for them.
So I have to continuously practice saying no on a regular basis. It's not something I'm perfect at. And I will say I've gotten better about it over the years. And one of the things that has really helped is my commitment to mentoring and making sure that if an opportunity aligns for somebody I'm mentoring, that I use that as an opportunity to help grow their leadership and say, hey, thank you so much for the offer, but right now I'm at capacity, or I'm really focused on X, Y, and Z, but I have a great leader who's really interested and focused in this area. She wants to learn more, and are you okay with me connecting you? And usually people love that. And it's not just about, oftentimes, I've seen people do this in some ways where it's kind of like check a box, like, oh, here's someone I know. But it's actually about really fitting a person who is focused on that and wants to learn in that area so that it's actually supportive of them growing and getting new experiences.
Absolutely. And then it's a win-win because you're making the connection that they might not have otherwise made, and you're able to foster that growth for that person.
Totally.
And not feel guilty about yourself having to say no and limit what the things that you're committing yourself to. That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about managing stress. Yeah. I know you've been learning how to do this better in the last couple of years. Sometimes we're constantly racing around and trying to do a million things. How do you disconnect? How do you reduce your own stress? Do you have a routine or activity that helps you find peace?
Yeah, I'm really thankful that I don't carry my work around with me. When I'm not working, I feel like my brain and my mind can just disconnect. So that's good. I know some people struggle with that. And so that can be difficult. But I feel fortunate that I can really disconnect when it's time to disconnect. But it's really basic things. It's just spending quality time with family, snuggling. I just got a brand new puppy. We just got him last week.
Oh, so, my goodness. Yeah. What kind?
It's a little white golden retriever. So it's like the lighter kind of golden retrievers. So that has been really helpful. Yeah. And then just basic things like cooking that I love to do, being out in nature, connecting with people I love, doing something in community is... There's different ways to do things in community, but still going out and being engaged in community gives me energy. And so it's almost those foundational human things that we all need that can really help me de-stress.
Oh, that's so good. Yes. Yeah. Love the puppies for all of the oxytocin.
I know. Exactly.
And what rituals or daily practices are essential for maintaining your emotional balance?
I think staying focused and really scoping what I'm focused on so that I don't spread myself too thin, which I have, a pretty high tolerance to multitask and do a lot of things at once or even manage crisis. Actually, at my work right now, I'm in a role where I'm managing some kind of emergency response work because I have those skills and abilities and experience. Sure. And so I have a high tolerance, and sometimes I don't realize when I need to focus and it can impact my emotional health. And so really it's just identifying on a regular basis what are the main couple things that I'm focused on right now. Yeah. And then focusing on that and not being distracted, and then disconnecting when it's time to disconnect. Yeah. Get my physical, mental health, my connections to the people I love. Those are the things that really help. And then getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night, which is really helpful. So and important. Eating healthy food. It's kind of, again, just the foundational things.
All of those things are so important. Yeah. I've just learned how to fully disconnect from work a couple of years ago. And it makes my time when I'm not working so much higher quality. And it actually makes the time when I am working higher quality as well. It's such an important skill to learn. Yeah. So... Tell me a little bit about, can you tell us a little bit about your culture and heritage? How does this identity influence the decisions you make today, both personally and professionally?
Yeah, well, I identify as a bicultural Chicana. My mom is from La Ciudad de Mexico. All of my family on my mom's side, they're all in Mexico. I'm very close to them. We're talking on a regular basis. I'll go and visit them every year. I'm very involved in my family's life and mentorship there as well. And so that's a big part of my identity, as is my dad's side of the family, which is Irish and Swedish, and from here in Minnesota. And he grew up on a dairy farm in Mora, Minnesota. So, yeah, so I feel very Minnesotan and Midwestern and very Mexicana también. And so that's really influenced everything I do, because I feel like I had to grow up and be a literal and symbolic interpreter and translator across like difference. And so in the roles that I play, even, you know, my political leadership role, the work that I do today, it's about bridging across difference to create a common vision and a common goal. And I'm okay with tension. I'm okay with contradiction. And I think that's because I am that as a person. Yeah. And so I really gravitate to things that aren't so black and white, and they're very vague, and they can be difficult because there is contradiction. So I think in what I do, it's an asset and a skill, because that's just how I've grown up my whole life, explaining the Mexicans to the Minnesotans and vice versa, and playing ice hockey as a young girl, and, you know, just kind of breaking the norms, I guess, is a comfortable place for me.
I love that. That's very inspiring, and I can tell that you are fully bicultural and embody both heritages very well, and a great example for others. Okay, you mentioned that you like to cook as a way to relax. I've also heard that you're an excellent cook.
Thank you. How
does cooking help you disconnect from the daily pressures, and what does this space represent for you?
Yeah. You know, it's so important to me for so many reasons. So I think one, it's because it's a way that I can like express love for the people that I love and take care of them. I think that's one big thing. Two, it helps me be very creative. You know, I don't use recipes a lot. I kind of think about what's in season, what's local. I try, right now in my home, I can't grow food because I'm like surrounded by trees, and so it's all shade. Yeah. But I used to grow food, and then if I don't grow it, I get it from local farms, organic farms, and it's really fun to think about what can I make with this, and then how do I really lift up the essence of that vegetable or that food. So it's very simple cooking as well. And I kind of have so much fun in my family. And with my friends, people will say, I don't eat vegetables, I don't do this. And then I'm like, here you go, I made something for you. Try and they'll eat it up. And I'm like, you just ate a vegan meal. Or that had this. Did you know it had cabbage in it? And they're like, I had no clue. And it's like, well, I don't know if it's about you not liking these things. It's just, you know, how do you, it's about cooking them and preparing them with love and in a healthy way. So for all those reasons, it's about your health. It's about nourishment on all different levels, physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. And I can express my love to the people I care for.
That's so beautiful. Yeah, it's not just about nutrition. It's about love and taking care of people, and maybe introducing them to things that they hadn't tried or didn't know they could like.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
So cool. I love that. Okay, so in this podcast, we talk about disruption. I'm curious what that word means to you and how you might apply it to your daily life or use it to approach challenges.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. And there's so many ways to think about disruption. And I think the way that it's showed up in my life is not necessarily intentional, like disrupting in the sense of making the conscious decision that I want to disrupt, but it's almost been about my existence has been a disruption in many spaces, just by being. And so, for example, growing up as a young kid, I was one of 3 people that started the Gay Straight Alliance, is what it was called back in the day. And that was disruptive, and there was commotion around it. And I was like, why? This is just, you know, we're here to respect all people. Or being the only girl and the only Mexican hockey player when I was a young kid. And I didn't think about disrupting, but I just was like, I want to play hockey. Or running for elected office and saying, you know, I think I have something to contribute to my community. But that meant that I became the first Latina mayor in Minnesota. And so I think for me, disruption has been something that I've always done, but it's just been because of the way that I am. I'm not from this mold, I'm not from that mold, and that has disrupted the status quo. And I think that's awesome and great, and I think that we need to role model that more, because we need everyone to feel authentic in their leadership, and disrupting is a huge piece of it.
That's so meaningful. Like you weren't even setting out to disrupt. It just, by the nature of who you were and what you were doing at the time, that was sort of breakthrough. It felt like a disruption maybe to others, but in an authentic way and in a way that was good.
Yeah, and another thing that I've just reminded myself is like, just because others might think it's disruptive or might not understand me because I don't fit in a box or the way that I move in the world, I'm super okay with that. I'm like, that is not my issue. I know who I am. I'm very strong in who I am, and it might not fit in somebody else's way of thinking, but that's okay because I'm role modeling and creating space for someone else to be accepted.
And that's what makes you an amazing role model for others.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So how has your view over the years on female leadership evolved? And what do you think society still lacks to better support women that are in positions of power?
I mean, ever since I was little, I've just seen the amazing tenacity of like women leaders around me. Oftentimes they're informal leaders. They're clearly leaders, but they're not in these formal leadership positions. And so a lot of women in my family trailblazing, mentoring, supporting others. And so I've definitely had so much influence of amazing women leaders. Yeah. I do think that the burden is still so strong. In many ways, the world accepts women leaders, and in many ways, they don't. Everybody's happy for us to take on all the work on our shoulders and do all the things. And oftentimes, we're still left out of leadership. And so I've been really conscious of saying, I'm not going to fall into that any longer. And I need to role model what it means to be a strong leader and a woman, and in a way that's not at the cost of myself. Because our society has no problem seeing us sacrifice ourselves for leadership and taking care of others. And so it's more, part of what I want to do is support women and young girls to say, how can you lead and really focus on a healthy whole self? And what does that look like? And I don't think that exists today in our society. There's not facilitators for families, for mothers. There's a lot of disparities that women experience. So it's not there in the world. We have to create it. And a big part of that is your chosen community and your friendships 100%. And your networks. You can't, my friends and I have a saying that you can boss babe alone, because a boss babe can do all the things and she's blazing ahead, but she's burnt out, she's tired. Yeah. And we talk about being your highest self or a high priestess, and you can't do that by yourself. No. You have to do it in community. So we always talk about the only way to get to that place is with one another.
It's about having support. That is so eloquently said. And it's also so important, if you are in a leadership role as a woman, to role model self-care, community, having support, taking that on, because then you're showing others that is okay.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And actually necessary.
Yeah.
So what's some key advice that you've received from a friend or someone in your close circle about living a more full, more satisfying life?
I mean, one of the biggest ones is just learn to have fun. And what are those things around fun that have nothing to do with a sense of purpose or community? But what are those just, maybe it's recreational things, maybe it's hobbies, just for fun. You're just engaging in something for the pure joy of it. And so that's something that has been shared with me that I'm still learning to think about, okay,
100%.
What does that look like for me? And I think cooking is one of those things, and hiking and being outdoors. But that's a big one.
That's huge. That's another thing that I'm just starting to learn in the past couple of years, the first 2 decades building my business. I don't think I had any hobbies. I didn't think that I had time for hobbies. I was not only building my business, but I was raising my children, and it was all about others. And so learning to find what I love and things that I enjoy doing the last couple of years has been very liberating.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily always easy. It can be hard to figure that out.
Yeah, to be like, oh, what do I like? What do I want to do with my time and outside of work and all of those things? So that's great. So 5 years ago, you remember what year that was? 2020. What would you tell the Maria from 5 years ago that you didn't know then? What advice would you give her about life or balance and things that you know now that you would like her to have known?
to really delegate and support the leadership of others, and to not fill leadership gaps of other people and other people. So I think during that time, in many ways, we saw some of the best of people and we saw some of the worst of people.
Of course.
And so I got to see a lot of that as a leader. And I think one of the things that I did was just prone to action and prone to lead in all the spaces.
Yeah.
And I think there was opportunities to say, I need you to lead, and you don't get to back out right now and not lead. You have to lead and not fill that gap and kind of recreate that, doing all things and leading all things at the cost of yourself, but really calling people to be accountable to their leadership. And that if they didn't meet that wasn't my failure, that I'd have to be okay with that. And obviously that's easier said than done because there's consequences oftentimes of poor leadership, but to really call people to task for leadership and not fill the leadership gap for them.
Yeah, because then that's their opportunity to learn, right?
Yep.
Even if there is a failure, okay, we learn from that, we move on, we grow, and it's an opportunity for them either way. Yeah.
Definitely.
That's amazing. Okay. Last but not least, sometimes we talk about money on this podcast because it is a disruptive thing for women. I know that it was tied to some of the decisions you've made. How has your approach to money and business changed since you took full control of your life and got out of the political sphere?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that those things were necessarily connected for me, but what was, because I was still working a full-time job when I was in elected office.
Yep.
So
of course you were.
Oh my gosh.
As we do.
Yep. So but in terms of money, I've really done a lot of work with my partner and with my community and family members to have a strong relationship with money. And so really thinking about and building my own financial literacy, and then doing that in community and supporting our community to understand money and reframe it in service to our vision and our values. So it's really a vehicle to achieve your dreams and your vision. And so it helps, when you look at it that way, it helps people think about money differently. Yeah. And I've just been, because of that focus, I've learned about investing, I've learned about real estate, I've been able to engage in wealth building activities. Yeah. And in many ways, I'm the first person and only one in my family, as is my husband, to really explore financial stability and wealth building. Yep. And then we're really passionate about sharing these things because oftentimes they're limited to our community. We're excluded from all of that. And so my own journey I've been doing in parallel with community and helping kind of others think about money in a different way.
Yeah, that's so good. And so what's a piece of advice that you would give to someone who might be first generation in their family trying to build wealth?
Probably that it's important that they seek out and be really proactive in learning more about money. So it's something, we're never going to gain this skill just by knowing it. And unfortunately, I'm in the situation that many community members are in. I don't have friends that are wealthy. I don't have mentors and people in my life that are these multimillionaires. Yeah. And I don't have access to that knowledge. And so it really does start with the knowledge exists, it's free, it's out there. How can you be proactive in taking those first steps and understanding how can I change my relationship with money? There's resources out there, but it will take us being proactive. Yeah. I'm sure just like me, many people don't have those mentors coaching them on finances. Right. They don't have those wealth building people in their families. And so it means that we have to start on our own.
Maria, muchas gracias. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It was such a pleasure speaking with you, hearing your transformations. I definitely gleaned a couple of amazing tips for my own mental health, and I hope that our listeners did too. Is there anything you'd like to add, and where can people find you?
Yeah, folks can find me on LinkedIn. Just search Maria Medina and my profile's there. And then I just want to say thank you to you for the amazing trailblazing work you've been doing as a leader and mentoring others as well to go on that same journey, and for hosting this amazing podcast, which is all about disruption and helping encourage people to disrupt in service to our community. So thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. It's so great having you here. And yeah, just thank you so much for your leadership and for your time with us on the podcast today.
Thank you.